Hey, this is Devin. I'm going to check out the Boston Sprinter route, which just came out for Train Sim World 2. It goes from Boston to Providence, and I am going to try an Amtrak service. And I guess it's still showing the degrees in Celsius, which is not right because I have it set to follow the route, so the route should be Fahrenheit. There's 16 Amtrak services, and they just run 4 stops usually: South Station to Back Bay, Route 128. And then to Providence. I think it's about 10 o'clock right now, so let's just do this 10:30 service. Okay, so I'm going to do this Amtrak service starting from Providence at 10:30 and going to Boston. We have 4 stops probably. Most of them stop at Route 128, Back Bay, and then South Station. So unlock the doors. So this train was originally, of course, in Train Sim World 1. And they had to get rid of it or not carry it over to Train Sim World 2 just because it was put together wrong. And, you know, I opened the doors on the wrong side. The route that they did for New York didn't really make a lot of sense. It went from like 2 stops into New Jersey and then 1 stop into New York to New Rochelle. So it had Penn Station, which was cool, had the Yard, which was cool, but none of the trains really had any logic to where they went and what they did. So this is sort of a chance to start over, and they, I guess, remade the engine as well, so the sound should be a little bit better, and the safety systems work correctly. I guess the cab signaling system works correctly, which is the access system and ATC. So better experience overall, and of course it's rush hour, so they packed in a lot of passengers. We can see some people getting on here probably. I don't see a ton right now. There's some. So they're getting ready to get on my train. There should be more passengers in the station now walking around. They have new clothes. They're doing different animations. So improvement there as well. Unfortunately, I think I noticed in South Station that I don't think my graphics card, when it's on full ultra widescreen, can actually handle all the new stuff they put in. Tends to slow down a lot. My frame rate is not great. Let's see what it is right now. Right now I'm at 1080p. The frame rate is a little bit better. It's like approaching 40, which is fine, but I normally play at 3440 by 1440, which is ultra widescreen and that high res. This route is not really doing a great job with it right now, and then there's a few occasional glitches and stuff that I've noticed just in the last day playing it, so not quite maybe at 100% yet, but I like it. It's a lot of fun because for me, I was born in the Boston area, and this route was definitely the first train I ever took, so it's nice to see it in the game, especially Route 128, which might help if I put the brakes on correctly. Put that in passenger, and release. There we go. Yeah, it's been a while since I've driven this Amtrak train. There we go. And we're headed for Route 128. As I was saying, Route 128 I always used to go to when I was a kid. We'd take the train from New York and get off there, and my grandparents would pick me up, so I'm familiar with it the way it looked in the 80s, not so much the way it looks now. So if there's any inaccuracies in there, it's not something I would notice, but it definitely reminds me of how I remember it. So it's pretty cool seeing something you're familiar with in the game again. I knew Penn Station pretty well too, so it was nice to have that in Train Sim World 1. So the access and the signaling system is telling us now we're up to 60, but I guess the speed limit, the red one, I think is the speed limit of the track is still 30. Not entirely sure which is which. I always kind of lose track. But access is telling us we can go 60, but you can see the HUD still says 30, so I think we're actually waiting for the back of the train to pass into the 60 zone. There we go. All right, so we can accelerate now. It's nice and dry, so I think I can just put it on 10, and we're not going to get any wheel slip. That's another big change from Train Sim World 2 is, compared to Train Sim World 1, is the wheel slip. So actually driving this train, even though it's the same, is actually kind of a different experience because of the adhesion, which is different now. So we're about 30 miles away, and we've got 21 minutes. So hopefully we'll get a chance to speed up soon. Access says we can go 70. We're still waiting for the rest of the train to get into the zone. There we go. So these safety systems, the American ones, are definitely easier than the German ones because they kind of explain stuff a little bit better. They tell you what speed you're supposed to be targeting, and the trick to slowing down to the target speed when this drops is just to put your brakes in suppression, apparently. So as soon as you get put in brakes in suppression, that means you're on the right braking curve. So you're not going to overspeed, you're not going to get any penalties, I think. We'll see if that works exactly the way I think it works. Next time we get a speed reduction. The only weird part is that the track speed and the access speed, signaling speed, can be different at times, and you're basically just supposed to follow the lower one. That's probably supposed to be I-95 out there. Oh, check it out. Probably. I use the keyboard to turn on the safety systems, but I think those controls are back here somewhere on the wall. Slow down a little bit. Acknowledge. Use the dynamic brake to slow down. And I think as long as I get below 60 in time, I should be cool. There we go. So I use the dynamic brake, which is this controller right here. I think if you're way above speed, then you should use this brake and put it in suppression. But if you're only a little bit above, then you can probably use dynamics and not worry about missing the target speed. Back up to 70 for access, and speed limits changing on the track shortly. There we go. So now we got a quick reduction to 60. So I've got 8 seconds to respond, and looks like I slowed down in time. When you hear the thing, you press Q, which is the acknowledge button, which I think is also this. Yeah, it's that button. Makes it a little louder. There's graffiti over there. We're coming up to an increase to 125. I think probably access will increase around the same point. As soon as the full train gets into that zone, we can speed up. That was the alerter. Same key, it's Q to acknowledge, and I think it's the same button, but I'm not really sure. There we go, speed up, we got 125. So this is about as fast as this train can go. I think 125 is the maximum speed. The track itself goes to 150, so if they come up with the Accela for this, that will be able to go 150. So I've tried a bunch of services and I've done the tutorials. I haven't tried any of the scenarios, but there's 5 of them. I think they're all in winter, and it looks like a lot of them are going on a route and then turn around and come back the other way, especially the MBTA ones. So you get to use the engine and the cab car in the same scenario. I think if you're not stopping at the station, you're supposed to blow the horn when you go through, but I'm not really sure. So we're not even up to 100, and we have 110 mile per hour coming up in a mile and a half, so we're going to have to slow down relatively soon. I think the sound on these cars have changed, like the clicking of the tracks, but in general the cars haven't changed that much. Okay, we're slowing down to 110 now. So if I pull back the dynamics all the way, if I get below 110, I should be okay, I think. On the stream yesterday, they didn't mention these dynamic brakes. They only mentioned the air brakes. So I think you can use either, but I'm not entirely sure. But I do know if you're going way fast and it suddenly drops down, if you put it in suppression, then you won't get it'll clear the control lockout and you won't get any like penalties or anything, I think. I haven't really tried it in that way yet. So we'll see what happens if I get a massive slowdown at some point here. Now the track speed is up to 150 and we're back to 125 on access. So I can speed up again. Or ATC in this case, actually. Access has to do, I think, with signals, and ATC is the traffic in front of you, but I could have that completely flipped backwards, I forget. It's basically just two safety systems, and they might show different speeds at different times, but you follow whatever the lowest is between ATC, access, and the track speed. We're almost at 125, so I'm going to just pull back the throttle a little bit. I don't think there's massive alarms and penalties and stuff if you go a couple miles over the speed limit. I haven't noticed that yet. I think some of the German safety systems freak out if you do. These American ones not quite as much in the same way anyway. If you go way fast, I think probably you do get a penalty break, but haven't encountered that yet. The alerter. In-cab signaling system here, which shows you the next aspect, and then that should match that right there. But the actual signals on the track show a few more different variations, because as you see, there's only two different lights here. Acknowledge again, there's the alerter. So sometimes they don't completely match, but the word here is kind of what matters. Clear tells you can go up to track speed, or whatever ATC says your speed should be. When you have approach and approach medium and all these other variations, it will say right there, and those all mean different speeds. Thankfully, the HUD shows you what speed it actually requires. Notice that text in the side, reverse handle in. Noticing that happening a lot in TrainSim World 2, where I guess if you use the keyboard shortcuts to do stuff like that, the message seems to never really disappear. I don't know if it's consistent on every train or not, but I have noticed it from time to time. Some freight cars waiting over there. That seems realistic to me. I remember riding this route a lot and looking out the window and seeing, little sidings with freight cars kind of all over the place. There's not a ton of freight activity on the Northeast Corridor, but there's definitely some. So it's nice that they populated that around the map, even though there's no actual freight activities to do. Some of the other routes, there's a million sidings that don't actually do anything, and that kind of takes away from their realism. Just give a little warning to people to get back from the track, I guess. I don't know if they really do that every time or not. So we're kind of going uphill, so having the throttle on 4 isn't enough to maintain our speed. We're slowing down a little bit. So I'll just give it a little more. Track speed is down to 130, which would apply to the Excella, not to us. I got to assume they're coming up with either the current Excella or the new one, sometime in the near future, because they did say they left a spot for it in the timetable. So that'd be nice. Again, it would be cooler on these high-speed routes if they actually were a little bit longer, but this is, I guess, the fastest part of the Excella route, so that makes sense. I think we just went through a tree. Hopefully, nobody got hurt. The interesting thing about the track speed limits is I don't think you can actually see them anywhere on the track. There's no signs. So you just need to follow this here and the HUD and everything. And so I think it's a combination of drivers knowing where all the speed limits are and this system here. Fast. So. We're still about 8 miles out, close to 5 minutes. I think the conductor would make an announcement in a couple minutes for people to grab all their bags and stuff and make sure they don't leave their kids behind and all that. Back when I would ride it, there'd only be a couple different doors open because the conductor would have to lower the steps, but now that they have the higher platforms, you can get off it, I think, from any car. There's a map to pick up. Let's go back there and get that collectible. Okay, so we're dropping to 100. I think we might need some air brakes for this. Yeah, we do. So the red around the HUD means, around the HUD there means that where's suppression? Let's find suppression. There it is. So that should clear the HUD. The power lockout, I mean, in the HUD, that red box. But it's not, so I don't know what I did wrong. Oh, I hadn't acknowledged it yet, that's why, because we're down to 45. So we got approach medium, which is, they call it a yellow, but it's, I think, a red over green. And now we're down to 30. So because we're in suppression, our braking is at the right curve, and we're not really getting in trouble or anything. But we're definitely going faster than we're supposed to at the moment. Once I get below 30, I can pull off the brakes. There we go. Alright, so now we're approaching this yellow signal up ahead. So they're going to keep us slow. It's quite a slope there. So I think approach medium is 45 miles per hour, approach is 30, but you don't have to remember that because it tells you right here. Now we're down to 20. So restriction is 20, or restrict, not sure exactly if that's an abbreviation or not. I'm not sure what would be ahead of us, but we do have a red signal, so we're waiting for something. Look at the map, I can see what's going on up here. Oh, okay. Oh, that train. Alright. Another, that's a MBTA train in front of us. I guess coming from the Stoughton branch or something. Down to 0. Oh, we were down to 0, but now we're up to 30 again. Step back, we're not stopping here. No, I'm gonna need to have my conductor apologize for us being a couple minutes late. So I don't know if I was supposed to get here a little bit earlier and get ahead of him or not, but obviously someone got in front of us, so now we gotta slow down. That's kind of the cool part about these busy timetables. Apparently, it doesn't take much to fall behind. don't know if you saw, there was a kind of a flash of white as the train's lights went by, like a big white block covering the screen. I've been seeing that a lot on this route. So I don't know if that's because of the upgrade to Unreal 4.26 or because of the route in particular, but probably not supposed to be there. So all the people who grab their bags are standing in the vestibules. They're just standing there waiting the whole time. They think we should have been there about 40 seconds ago. So I wonder if the difference in that was just the time it took me to get started at Providence. Whether if I'd started exactly on schedule, we would have not run into this slowdown. That's a big difference in this route compared to like the Marseille route and even the German Cologne route. Is it's just a lot more traffic and a lot more stuff happening to get in your way. We slowed down too much. Although we do only have a red a mile away, and the station is 1.8 miles, so that guy must be stopped at the station right now, or maybe just leaving. Out the door. Because this is from Train Sim World 1, there's actually a hallway. You can walk back there. It wasn't long after they started doing that kind of thing, they realized, hey, we don't need to make the hallways if we just put the controls in the back wall. So technically not 100% accurate, but certainly saves a lot of time making the model, because there's really no reason for that hallway except to use the pantograph controls and to go from cab to cab. But in the other German engines that are like this, they don't bother to do the hallway. Sometimes they do, but not all of them. We're about 500 yards from the red light. I wonder if you can see the station yet. Kind of. The other thing about waiting to pick someone up at 128 was always that you could see the train coming from pretty far away, which I liked. Alright, that's not gonna change, so... Yep. I guess we're stopped here. You're supposed to be able to click the phone and has to be able to go through a red? I guess not on this one. See what happens. Proceed at restricted speed, really? I'm not sure that's right. There's really no reason for him to let us go through that red. Wonder what will happen if I do. I'll just save it. Just to see what happens. Try again. Proceed to restricted speed. Okay, see what happens. I know you're gonna end me. You sure? Okay, I will. Don't tell me I passed through the red when I... Oh, weird. Okay, I guess I'm allowed. The restricted speed is 20, so we can go a little faster. Well, to make it easy to stop, last time I tried this, I missed the station platform totally, so... Creeping along here makes it a little easier. Sorry, people who are standing in the vestibules. Not my fault. Maybe it is. It's not totally my fault. Map. So, don't see anything ahead of us that should actually be causing this, so it's a little weird. If that's a bug. Oh, there's that guy. But he should be a few blocks away by now. Hang on. Oops. Yeah. That was the alerter. Okay. I wonder if that red signal's ever going to change up ahead. Hi guys, you're not allowed to get on this train anyway, so I don't know why you're standing there. Cool. We're here. Let's check out this hallway. Oh, bathroom. where these people are coming from, but I do remember there being a dirt road back there. I'm not sure why they're all coming from there. Maybe there's a parking lot. Put up a poster. Cool. Can you tell me why the signal was red? No? Okay. Thanks. Excuse me. Sorry. Excuse me. Sorry. Back in the old days, there was this like cheap plastic, corrugated plastic stuff up here. You couldn't see through it all, so you couldn't go up here and watch the trains come in. That was kind of annoying. I assume in real life it's glass now too. Alright, so it's about 11 in real life too. So I need to go. So, but I'm curious what happens if I sit down here and close the doors. Will it change to green light? Yeah, it did. Okay. So that's weird. Probably not supposed to be like that, but I wonder if that's the reason why it was so slow getting into the station. Oh, okay. Well, that's it for now. I'm going to stop streaming because I got to go pick up the kids in real life. But I'm not actually streaming. I'm doing YouTube. That was wrong. Anyway, I'm going to stop now, and then I'll post this video. And if you like it, please give it a like. If you want to comment, please give it a comment. If you want to subscribe, go ahead and subscribe. There's a lot of people coming down that dirt road. Okay. There's supposed to be a parking lot over here? Yeah, you guys should be walking over this side. You should be maybe getting in your cars over there. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for watching.